Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2954 is almost here, and with it, another free fly event. If you're a new returning player, you may be wondering to yourself, how can I get the most out of the next 2 weeks? Well, I'm gonna go over the event details, what to expect from the current build of the game, and some of the best missions to get you started, as well as how to avoid some common bugs. Speaking of bugs, let's get this out of the way right now. Even though many of you are likely aware, despite the sick play it now adverts strewn across YouTube, Star Citizen is an alpha game in active development. That means bugs, performance issues are to be expected and are often intensified by the influx of players during a free fly event. I'll briefly go over how to ensure you set yourself up for the best possible experience on your PC, but first, let's go over some of the details of the event. The Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, or IAE, is a live in-game event held at the otherwise closed Tobin Expo Center, accessible via the MT Metro Loop at New Babbage on Microtech. Every couple days, a different ship manufacturer or group of manufacturers takes over the center to show off and display their ships, allowing visitors to check out the cockpits and the interiors. This includes new ships like the Polaris, the Intrepid, and one of the ones I'm looking forward to, a variation of the Starlancer Max. Not only can you check out the ships at the expo, but with the free fly event, you can test over 150 ships and vehicles, as well as get special edition paints and items. As you might imagine, a free fly event brings in a bunch of new and returning players. I actually first tried out the game during a free fly event, which was during a rougher patch cycle of July last year. While the current patch has mostly stabilized, IAE will bring in a new patch, which is often bumpy, for at least for the first few days. Combine that with above average players and a lot of people gathering in the same spots, and you never know exactly how the servers will respond. Those are the kinds of things that are out of your control, but there are a few things to ensure the best possible performance on your PC. As Star Citizen is an alpha, like I said, even the best of PCs can only brute force that so much. I run an i7-13700 with 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM and an RTX 3080 on a fiber internet connection, and I've had an overall stable experience since returning right before 3.24. You can see where your own build ranks on SIG's telemetry board, which I'll link down below. On that, it's now considered necessary that you install the game on an SSD or an M.2. And if you previously had the game installed, it usually never hurts to go in and delete the shaders folder, which is here. And if once you're in the game and you want some in-depth stats on either your PC's performance or the current server performance, you can bring up the console commands with the tilde key and then enter in r_display_info equals 1 through 4. 0 will turn it back off. Once you load into the game, you'll create a character, which has recently been expanded with more options, including hairstyles, tattoos, and piercings. Then you'll have the option of choosing your starting/home world, those options being Crusader, ArcCorp, Hurston, and Microtech. I'm biased towards Orison, the city in the clouds, on Crusader. Microtech is a beautiful snowscape, but it's on the far edge of the Stanton system. Area 18 on ArcCorp is a great starting city because it has the advantage of having a lot of easily accessible shops. And Loreville on Hurston is a dirty wasteland, but it does have the advantage of being very central in the Stanton system. It doesn't really matter where you start, as your best bet is to go to your nearest orbiting space station and set your respawn point there. It'll make recovery a lot easier. Global chat is usually a surprisingly friendly place if you'd like to tag along with somebody else or you simply have any random questions. Missions are easily accessible by pressing F2 by default. As a quick rundown, Delivery is a small package intro to cargo gameplay, with cargo itself having larger boxes and bigger quantities. These are all measured in SCU, making it important that you confirm your ship has enough room for what you're trying to haul. A ship's type is listed on the ASOP terminal, but it's not a bad idea to check on the capabilities before getting into a mission. Regardless of the cargo mission, you're going to make sure that you have at least a multi-tool with a tractor beam attachment or a two-handed max lift. They're having some issues selling cargo at planetary or moon landing zones that aren't major cities, and I'm not sure that those show up in missions, but your best bet is to go from space station to space station or space station to main city and vice versa. Another more relaxed gameplay loop is Salvage, which has you scraping recycled material composite, or RMC, off of ships or large panels that you usually find in asteroid fields. This is currently a fairly lucrative gameplay loop that has a bit of a learning curve, so be sure to check out a tutorial video or let me know if you'd like one from me personally. Last on the list of chill gameplay is mining. This doesn't have actual missions, unlike Salvage, but is similarly performed with a select few ships and or vehicles, being the Rock, Mole, and Prospector. From what I've heard, mining on surfaces has had some issues, so it could be hit or miss, but this is something I'm going to be checking out during the free fly, as it's one of the main loops I have yet to try out, outside of hand mining in jail. Did I mention you could go to jail? and it's kind of its own gameplay loop. But let's keep you out of jail for now, and maybe even instead go after some criminals and do some bounty hunting missions. I mean, you can take illegal bounty hunting missions, but you shouldn't do anything illegal, or I'm gonna come get you. The mission descriptions let you know where and how dangerous the target is, but they are usually in a ship, so it's best to take these on with a fighter of some sort. Pro-tem means that it's an actual player that has acquired a crime stat but hasn't been thrown in jail yet, so feel free to take on these missions if you want to dole out some justice and maybe do some legal PvP. Last but not least, and how I personally made my millions, are mercenary missions. These include a variety of bunker and derelict outpost missions that will see you taking on pirates in first-person combat. As for making money goes, it's useful to have a ship that has a little cargo space, but be warned, some derelict outpost missions and higher tier bunker missions have ships or turrets that will fire at you on sight. Unfortunately, some of the more involved and expansive mercenary missions have not worked for me in 3.24, those being remove illegal occupants and the 890 jump mission. It's really unfortunate because these types of missions really show you how good Star Citizen can be. So hopefully they fix those soon. I view Free Fly as an opportunity for players to decide if they want to commit to the game in progress nature of Star Citizen. That being said, I don't think bug submission is on Free Fly players at all unless you really want to take that on. So at any point, should you accept a mission and you don't have a mission marker, or you arrive and find that enemies or other items haven't spawned, or you can't deliver a package, abort the mission and move on. It never hurts to ask in global chat if something is for sure broken, but it's not really worth your limited time to troubleshoot. However, should you buy your first ship and join the verse, bug submission is a huge help to the devs and really appreciated by the entire community. As far as getting the most out of your time mission-wise, I'd say the easiest to get into are bounty hunting, mercenary, and cargo in that order. While each have their respective skills, they all generally work as intended besides any aforementioned bugs. Bounty hunting is getting in your ship, flying to another ship, and then fighting that ship. Mercenary is classic FPS combat, and then cargo is mostly taking the time to load the boxes, and if you really want to get into it, min-maxing each trip you take. As for bugs I've run into or frequently heard of, and some general suggestions, number one, and probably the most important, be patient. Doors opening, elevators being called, accessing inventory, in-game screens, they all have visual cues that show that they're working. Spamming isn't likely to help you at all, and God forbid, might even make the problem worse. Being patient goes for flying your ship as well, especially if you have little to no sim or arcade flying experience. I can count my ship crashes on one hand, but PC performance, connection, and server health all play a huge part in ship behavior. So don't speed toward your landing zone. Default to W keying out of bed. It'll say F and you can use that menu to get just W key. I still randomly hear about people getting stuck in beds, so W key is your safest bet. I recommend buying just a little bit of cheap armor, a P4 AR, some ammo, and a couple meds, and then doing bunker missions and looting the rest from those. This is especially true if you feel even halfway decent at FPS combat. If you'd like an in-depth look on how I made my millions in nothing but a starter ship, feel free to check out this video here. Money is really only scarce in SC if you waste it. And as this is a free fly and you'll have access to all of those ships with no rental or purchase price, I think you're probably gonna be fine. Speaking of bunkers, I have had a rare bug there where I can no longer access any inventories. Pressing I gives me an empty backpack. Trying to access any container gives me nothing. In that instance, I fly back to a space station, deposit everything, and then relog. This is the act of logging out and logging back in, usually into a different server. For many bugs like the one I mentioned, or things like not being able to open your door, call a ship to your hangar, getting out of bed, relogging is the simplest workaround. One of the longest existing bugs I'm proud to say I've never fallen prey to, even though I've seen it, is the empty elevator bug. It's actually kind of cool when you don't fall into it. Simply call the elevator again and it should load properly. I did, however, walk off the back of the bunker elevator once. Why? Why is it there? If you're lucky, sometimes you'll find a very specific spot that allows you to fall through a planet or a moon. I've only been that lucky once in a few hundred hours of playing. Wow. And I hope you're just as lucky. These are the most common bugs I can think of or have run into. If you are a current player and you have something else you think we should know about, be sure to post it down below. If you've watched this far, thank you. Let me know what you're most excited to check out during IAE, and I will pick 5 of you from down below to receive 100,000 AUEC. It's not a lot, but it'll get you started on your adventures. Especially if you decide to officially join the verse, which you could use my referral code for. You don't have to use mine, but you should use somebody's. It feels corny to post it, but I feel obligated to, I guess. It gets you more money in game. Otherwise, it's just kind of like an MLM scheme for space nerds. If any of you would like a personal guide during the event, let me know and maybe we'll get a group together for some space shenanigans. Or come find me at the expo. I'll be pretending to be an NPC for a few days during the event. Be sure to subscribe for future Star Citizen videos, including hidden gems you should probably check out while you have the chance. I'm streaming Star Citizen, other survival crafting games, and fun events and challenges right now on twitch.tv/theyngprince. You should come join us live. Thanks for watching, and clean up your space stations, please. If I see you throw a bottle of Cruise that's Seraphim Station, I will follow you. I'll see you out there.